up, everybody? Welcome to Aspects Land of a Changing Man. My name is Gold, bringing you another episode. Definitely want to thank everybody for listening in and supporting the show. I feel like I'm making a change by some people listening, and showing their support on how the show is going. Definitely hit me up if you have any questions. The email address is mplsmikid at either yahoo or gmail.com. My Twitter address is mplsmikid akagol, and that's at Twitter. And if you go to Facebook, you can find me at Aspects Land of a Changing Man. That is the page for this podcast. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming in, listening to the show. Definitely hit me up if you have any questions, if you have any, if you think that I'm wrong, if you think that I'm right, you're liking what I'm saying, or if you have any topics that you feel like that you want to hear me talk about. I definitely would appreciate, the opinions of others. Today, I did want to talk about the topic I wanted to do yesterday, which was entitlement, but I felt like there's another subject that I really wanted to talk about today, as far as me and why, how I made my change, and the furthering of my change that I make. And it is, I stopped trying to make myself into the victim. I stopped wanting to be the victim of all the stuff that I felt like I didn't get, or that I didn't work hard enough to get, or, when things went wrong, or to fix something, or, any type of way. I stopped looking at myself as a victim. I started looking at myself as someone that, if it went wrong, it's actually my fault, and I need to do more of the right things to make things better. And it's really been making a lot of change in my life to actually start thinking that way. And just to give an example of, like the stuff that I used to do, when it came to like jobs, when it came to like jobs and the time that I would quit, I was explaining, I think I explained it yesterday, that when I was working at a job and not being the best worker, I was working at a factory job and I wasn't the best. I was the best performer that I could be when I was at work. So when I got to work, I was grand. I was on that forklift. I was doing amazing. I was, I was outstanding. To me, I was like the second or third best driver, depending on who was driving that night. So, it was, when it came to performing the work, I definitely was outstanding. But it was other things that, took me down, as far as, how people looked at me. And, I would show up to work late. I would sometimes not even show up at all. And this was a job that was just beginning. They really didn't, for the beginning, they really didn't care as long as we got the work done. It was a lot of times that a lot of people didn't show up. And it was a job where we knew, like, hey, at a regular job, we would have been fired. But we still did the job to completion in a good matter of time. So a lot of times they weren't really, tripping about what was going on. But, when it came time for, advancement, or people to look to do other things, I would always look like, man, the reason they ain't picking me is because of this. It wasn't the fact that I didn't show up. I mean, it was a good time where when I showed up to work, I got a standing ovation, and it was times where I didn't show up at all, and I come back to work, and everybody would be like, "Man, where were you, man? Where were you? What happened?" And I would always come up with an excuse of why I was late or anything else, to basically take the heat off of me. And I would even use other people. I would use other people as a lie because they weren't there. If you're not there, you can't defend yourself. You can't say I was lying. So all they had to go off was my word. And but yeah, it was just so much wrong that I was doing. But then when it came to oh, we're gonna move a guy up here, I was always looking at, oh man, me being the only black guy in there, I was always looking at, oh man, it's the white. That would be my excuse. Oh man, it was a white guy. It's because he's white. It's because um, that would be my reason that I would look at somebody else when they got past me. But the whole thing is that me and other people would talk about it, and there were other ethnicities, and we would talk about it and be like, yeah, it's because they're white. It wasn't because of the fact that we didn't show up. Like me and the other guy that were talking about it, we didn't show up. He was late. He was late like a lot, and he was not showing up more than I didn't show up. He went like a week or two without showing up and still had his job. And with me, I'll go a day without showing up, but then I'll be back and back at work, and then I'll show up late. But we were always like, yeah, it's because of the white thing. It's because of that, or it's because of this. And we weren't really looking at, ourselves. We were trying to make ourselves into the victim of something that wasn't really true. I mean, the two people that got the advancement that we wanted, one of them showed up to work every day on time, did nothing wrong, just did his job. And the other person that got the advancement showed up every day on time, was really slow at the job, wasn't really good at the job, but still was there to they were dependable. And those were only two people that were really dependable, that they can move to another position. And I was always trying to make myself into the victim of that situation. And when I finally left the job, I felt like I was going to get fired. So I was like, hey man, let me get up out of here before they get me up out of here, and I'll find something else. But I would blame it on them. Oh man, it wasn't a good company. Man, they cheated us out of this. They weren't doing this. They weren't doing that. And it was basically just blaming them for some stuff instead of looking at myself and saying, you know what, I was doing a lot of wrong, and I wasn't doing it. I got scared and I quit. They actually slimmed down on wanting people to come in, getting people to come in on time and getting people to um, show up to work every day. And that's when I started panicking. Because I wanted to be at work every day, but sometimes I worked overnights. I would be too sleepy. Something just happened. I was just being lazy, or just being just not being the person that I was supposed to be at the job. But my instinct was to blame it on them instead of, hey, you know what, it was me. I was a little immature. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't doing the things I was supposed to do, and I needed to go. I got scared and I left. But that happened at a lot of jobs that I worked at. When I got to panic about what they were saying because I was coming in later doing whatever, I would say, I gotta go. And basically try to make that job into something that was victimizing me. Even in the relationships that I've been in, I tried to make the person into the person that was a problem instead of me. And I found a big problem in that, because I can't expect you to I can't expect you to be the person that follows me. I can't expect to be the leader of this relationship. I can't expect to be the man that I feel like I should be in a relationship if I'm always trying to be the victim of what is going on. And you know, rightfully so. Like with one of my relationships, we were both trying to play the victim role. We were both trying to play the victim role. We were both blaming each other when a person did wrong. We were trying to say it was because of the other person. It was, when we got into arguments, it would be, if you didn't make me do that, I wouldn't have did it. If you didn't make me get loud, I wouldn't have yelled. It was, or you're abusive. You're mentally, emotionally abusive, this and that, and just trying to blame it on the other person instead of fixing it ourselves. And eventually she got tired of it. Because we both can't be victims. We both can't be the one that's saying, hey, you know what, there's something going on, and I don't know what's going on. Maybe you could show me, but if you can't, I don't know what to do. That's what I felt like what each other was saying in the relationship. I don't know what to do. So in my instincts, I don't want to be wrong in this situation. So there's nobody else to blame, and I don't want to blame myself. We had a very inflated sense of self-importance in our relationship. I had it for a while, like I was saying with the topic of narcissists. I had symptoms of it myself. Just the way that I did things, just trying to be the victim of everything, just thinking that I can manipulate the situation in my favor to, try to make the person feel guilty or whatnot, to try to make it so that I'm in control. I control the situation, and if I didn't, I always had a extra place for an extra outside situation, so that when it went wrong, I had somewhere to go for support, as far as love or whatever, as far as being with somebody, or trying to do somebody wrong first and then blaming it on them. It was something that I struggled in with myself, and I'm not scared to admit that. I have a lot of shame for it. I have a lot of regret for what I did. And it's something where, a topic that I want to fix, because I don't want, my kids to go through that. I don't want my kids to be someone that blames everybody else for something that they could actually fix themselves by looking in themselves and saying, I could do better. I know I can do better. I can put in 110%. I don't have to put in this 70 and hope that the other person puts in the other 30 for me. And yes, I do feel like people play the victim in a lot of relationships when it comes to the problems. I mean, if you look at like situations where a person gets caught cheating, and they get asked, why did you do that, and the other person can sit here and say, you don't show me enough affection anymore, or you're not there for me like I need you to be anymore, or